three or four different Pleiadians. I remember one was named Semjase or Semjase, Semjase. But yeah, you should look into that because it's a very interesting story. So this Pleiadian stepped out of her one-man craft, and she was gorgeous, and not in the sense of Jessica Simpson, Barbie doll, pretty. And by the way, I do think Jessica Simpson's really pretty, but I also don't really think she's Barbie doll. So maybe I shouldn't have said that. Not in the sense of celebrity pretty. That's what I'm trying to say. But in the sense of energetically very pretty. She had almost a plain face, and her hair was long and it was straight, and it was kind of like a light cinnamony sort of color. And she was just really, really, really beautiful, like very beautiful. And it wasn't that she was so aesthetically pleasing, but the energy that came off of her was just incredible. And it came off in these magnetic, beautiful droves. And she walked through my door, through the glass door and through the blinds instead of them being open. So there was a bit of matter manipulation, which was really amazing. And she sat down with me on the couch, and I saw us, and it felt like I was watching us for hours and hours and hours. And we were talking, but I wasn't hearing a single word. She introduced herself as her name was Jorel, and she said it with a Jorel, right? Like a rolling R. And so immediately I thought Jorel, right? And she came in wearing like this jumpsuit kind of look. Not, well, I guess kind of astronaut-y. Like if you've ever seen, and this is before I saw Defying Gravity, but if you've ever seen like Defying Gravity, which is a really amazing show, and I'm annoyed that it got canceled. If you ever saw that, kind of like their jumpsuits, but beige, a little more like skin toned, and like Caucasian skin toned, and more fitted. So it wasn't really loose, but it was kind of metallic also. It looked comfy. Let's just say that. And I didn't recognize the material, but she sat down with me and introduced herself as Jorel. And we were talking for the longest time, and I was watching us talk, and it felt like hours. And I felt like I've known this person absolutely forever. And I don't just mean for 30 years. I mean, for all the lifetimes that I have so far been through. And at the end of it, she turned and she looked right in my eyes. And at this point, I was suddenly seeing her from inside my body. So I wasn't seeing the two of us talking anymore. I was back inside my body. And she looked right in my eyes. And she had these crystalline blue eyes. And they were just incredible. Like they sparkled almost like gemstones, And she looked in my eyes and she said, and this, I knew this was the most important thing for me to take away from the experience with her, because I hadn't heard everything else. She looked at me and she said, "You are the power." And immediately I knew that she wasn't just talking to me. This was something that was for all of humanity. This was something for the entire planet, for everyone who feels powerless and demeaned and oppressed and repressed. You are the power. So that was just an incredible message for me to get. There were other things that happened, and there were more images that happened for like a minute, and then they would like delve off into something else. And something that really stuck with me was being on the top of like a craggy, it was kind of craggy, this cliff. And I'm looking down at this village below, and it's not a city, so there weren't skyscrapers and all this other stuff. It was a definite village, with like little wooden houses and like just not something you would see in, say, like Toronto. So I'm looking down at all of these villages, and I'm standing in this meadow, and behind me, maybe about like 300, 400 feet or whatever, is a forest edge, and it's very, very thick, and it's very green, and all the colors around me are so bright, so very vivid. And I'm standing at the edge of this cliff, and, grass at my feet. And I'm looking down at this village and I'm not at all feeling scared. In fact, I'm feeling the love of the entire planet, something that I like to call the God moment, which we'll also get into. But it's that moment where you feel so absolutely connected to everything and everyone. You are connected to your sister, your brother, your neighbor, the buds on the trees, the berry on the bush. You are connected to everything, the clouds, the sky, the stars, absolutely everything. I can't even say what this feeling really is because you need to feel it. And maybe you have felt it. And I've felt this feeling many, many times before, from even as a child, before defining what I considered and what I now call the God moment. I hold it in very high regards. Even as a child, I had this moment where I would read a book, and I would just be sent into this other place, and I would be so inspired, and I would feel so creatively alive, right? That I would get that God moment. I would lay on the grass and stare up at the sun or stare up at the stars. I would get that God moment, where you just feel so connected to everything and everyone, and you feel like the most important, but the least significant dot that's living on a dot with a bunch of other dots. And the dot that you're living on is in a solar system with a bunch of other dots. And then this solar system is a dot itself within a bunch of other dots that create a galaxy. You know what I'm saying? It's just this incredible, incredible feeling. And you feel the breadth and the power of the microcosm and the macrocosm just all at once. And you realize the perfection in absolutely everything. And this is something that comes and goes for me constant. I have the God moment at least once a day, at least. And sometimes it just fills me with so much power and so much creative energy and so much happiness that I just can't stop smiling and look like a dink, But, and other times I just break down crying, and it's the most relieving, amazing thing of happiness, not of sadness. There's no sadness involved in it whatsoever. And, you've probably experienced this before, I'm sure, listening to a piece of music or a song with beautiful chords or inspirational lyrics or whatever, and you're listening to it and you're just feeling your heart, but it's not your physical heart, it's your heart chakra. It's the anahata, right? The Sanskrit. And you're just feeling it grow and grow and grow. And glowing. You're feeling that glow feeling throughout your body and throughout your, more than anything, throughout your etheric body. And it really stirs. It stirs up everything of who you are and where you've come from and where you're going and how significant you actually are and how much power you actually are. The miracle of us, realistically. So I'm standing on the edge of this cliff. And there's grass at my feet, and it's technicolor, And I'm staring down at this village, and my arms are outstretched, and they're stretching up for the sky, And now I'm stretching as I say this because that feels so good. And your arms are stretching out, and all of these rainbows. And it's what's really cool about this is they look like cute little rainbows that you would draw or that a kid would draw, with a bunch of the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet crayons or something, and putting together this perfect rainbow. And all of these rainbows are coming out of my chest, out of my heart chakra, out of anahata. And all of these rainbows are going up into the sky and they're going down into the village. And I know that I am helping to circulate energy, almost like a chi conductor, that I am drawing up beautiful light energy from the earth, because that's all rainbow is light refracted. I'm bringing up that beautiful light energy from the earth, and I'm sending it up to the sky, and I'm healing the sky, and I'm sending it down to the village, and I'm healing the people, and I'm healing the earth down there. And at the same time, I'm also accepting rainbows myself coming up from the ground. So I'm healing myself at the same time. I remember at the time that I was dealing with this, the whole swine flu garbage was happening. And I don't, to put it out there, I don't agree with doctors, hospitals, vaccinations, drugs, pharmaceuticals, big pharma. I don't agree with any of that stuff because we are, and this is a topic for another show, of course. I really should write down all these things that I say, but this is a topic for another show because then I can actually implement that in the future, in the near future. But for many reasons, I don't agree with these things. And one main reason being that our immune system is absolutely incredible and we are miraculous. And as soon as you start introducing all these foreign things into it, and it's not to say I'm perfect. I've had McDonald's before. I don't recommend it. But, once we start introducing all those foreign poisonous things into our system, then the immune system doesn't do anymore what it was intended to do. And we were really made to be these